Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at a neat little device called the SmokeNinja. Basically, it's a portable fogging machine that you can kind of take with you everywhere. And it's great for doing product photography or personal projects or doing portraits. Anywhere you want to add kind of a fog or steam or cinematic effect to your photography. In full disclosure, they did send this device out to me for free to review, but no money changed hands, and they're not going to see this video before I publish it, and as always, I'll give you my honest and fair opinion. But first, let's go over the different components of the device, what's included, and then the basic operation, and I'll show you a few examples. There's the device itself. As you can see, it's very portable, compact, easy to carry around. Just simply insert the battery here into the back, slide the cover up, and then the next thing you need to do is to remove the heat shield here so you can insert the atomizing chamber. Now it's kept in this airtight container, and this is how you want to store it when you're not using the device for any extended period of time, say, for a few days. But it screws simply right onto the top here, and it only goes in one way. So as you can see, I had to flip it around so it would screw in properly. But once I had it in the right direction, just tighten it down, and next you just need to add the fluid here through this little rubber stopper. And it comes with 100 milliliters of fluid, which should last you about 200 minutes. Now, I've taken hundreds of pictures and used this device continuously, and I've only gone through about half of the bottle, so it does actually last quite a while. Now, it is a good idea to keep a hand towel around because you are dealing with liquids and you want to wipe off any excess or drops that you may have spilled. Now just reattach the heat shield and you're almost ready to go. Now the instructions say you can operate this device vertically or up to a 90-degree angle. Now you can point it down and it will work, but the fluid rises to the top of the chamber and it's not going to get heated, so it's going to think it's empty and stop working. So they've included these attachments here so you can angle the smoke or fog to go in a downward direction. They've also included other accessories like this foam diffuser here, which is really great for that dry ice effect. And I love this remote here. I actually used this quite a bit in my studio when I had the device attached to the extension arms. And they've included these attachable magnets and 1/4-20 screws. So you can stick this to metal surfaces or attach it to a light stand or, an extension arm, what have you. And here's a close-up of the battery that's included. This is a standard 18650 battery that you can buy everywhere. So it makes it very easy to replace. It's also rechargeable, and you can charge the battery directly in the device via the front USB-C port, and it takes about 1.5 hours to get a full charge. Overall, I think the product is very well made. It's very nice use of high-quality plastics. Everything fits and slides and snaps together very nicely, and I like the modular design of the replaceable atomizer as well as the rechargeable battery. Now the battery will give you about 15 minutes of runtime, which is a lot longer than you might think because you're really only operating the device in short bursts. And I was typically running about a half an hour to an hour of using the device before I had to recharge it. So it might be a good idea to keep a few extra spares if you're going to be on the set for any longer than that. Operation of the device is very simple. It's 3 clicks of the power button to turn it on or off, and then you have 3 buttons below that for the different settings. The first one being the fog setting, which produces a very thick mist that you can spread around the room. The second setting is the dry ice setting, which produces an even thicker mist that works best when you attach the foam diffuser to it, which slows the mist down to the point that it comes out so thick it's almost like a liquid in slow motion. And then finally you have the steam setting, which produces a very fine mist. It's great for product photography and things. And then you can also attach a high pressure nozzle to it so it sends the steam even further. All right, now let's look at some of the creative ways you can use this device. Now in this shot here, I'm just using the dry ice setting. So I filled the glass with some mist, and then I also laid some down around the base. And then I took the shot using a slow shutter of about 5 seconds to give a dreamy effect to the fog itself. In this shot here, I used the fog setting to create a finer mist and then just added a red LED to the background. And then I took it in post-processing and added a little bit of color to the bottom to make it look more like flames. And then in this shot here, I used the steam setting to create a very fine mist because I just wanted to create these light rays in the background. And then here I used the optical snoot with a window blind gobo to create this effect. Now in this setup, I used the 1/4-20 adapter to attach the SmokeNinja to the extension arm on my tripod so I could move the SmokeNinja around the scene while I used the remote control to activate the dry ice feature. And then I took about a dozen shots as the mist dissipated, and then I chose the best one out of that series, and I got this shot here. Now, another neat thing you can do when you take multiple images of the scene is you can take 5 or 6 of these and then layer them in Photoshop. Just set all of the layers except the top layer to lighten mode, and then add a hue adjustment layer to each of the individual 4 layers below it. And then for each image, all you do is adjust the hue or color of that layer to create sort of different colors of smoke in various parts of the scene to create this very psychedelic look. Now I did a little bit of masking on top of that, particularly the top layer. I masked out the rose itself because I didn't want to change the color of the rose. I just wanted to change the color of the smoke around it. And just a little bit more tweaking here and there, added the levels layer to adjust the contrast, and then I simply cropped the taste to export that back into Photolab, and then finally some very minor adjustments there, and I came up with this image here. Another great way to use the SmokeNinja is for doing portraits. So in my small studio here, I set up a fill light with a blue gel, the rim lighting with a red gel, and my key lighting is just bare bulb. And then I simply handheld the SmokeNinja and just moved it around to spread the smoke around as much as I can using the fog setting and the foam diffuser. And then I got this shot here. Now for this shot here, I want to take the idea of using multiple color lights. So I set up a blue gel for rim lighting here on the left, and then I used an optical snoot to create a red circle in the background to kind of look like a red moon maybe. And then I used a soft light for the fill light. And then behind the rocks here, I put an orange LED. Now I set the SmokeNinja to the dry ice setting, and then I spread around the bottom as much as I could. I made it really as thick as I can. And then I spread it around the top and around. And then I set up and took multiple shots of this scene and blended a few of them together in post-processing. But the final result was this shot here. So that's just some of the ideas that I came up with in the short time I've been using it. But as you can see, really, you're only limited by your own imagination of different ways you can use this device. Now, I want to give you an idea in the workflow of my experience in using this device. And generally speaking, I was just doing 5 or 10 second bursts to get all of the fog or mist or steam that I wanted out of it. But for longer term durations, say you want to have steam for several minutes, that's not going to happen. The device is technically rated for up to 1 minute of steam and up to 30 seconds of fog or dry ice. Now, that said, in the steam setting, sometimes I would get 1.5 to almost 2 minutes of use out of the steam in continuous flow. And then you have to wait about 3 to 5 seconds for the device to cool down because there's an overheating protection built into the device. And then you can go for another 1 to 2 minutes there. However, in the dry ice and fog settings, it was a little bit more random. I was getting anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds of continuous flow. And really the wait time, again, is about 3 seconds in between each continuous use. And again, it was kind of random between 10 and 30 seconds. Now, another thing to be conscious of is that time to time it'll spit out little droplets of this fog fluid. So it's a good idea to have a towel handy so you can wipe the device down the nozzle, the barrel, and maybe any surfaces that the droplets fell onto. But it doesn't stain and it doesn't have any odor and it's completely harmless, but just be conscious of that. And then also, particularly if you're using a dry ice setting where the mist will just kind of lay on the surface, it can leave a little bit of a residue. So again, you'll probably have to wipe those surfaces down as well if you're using the dry ice setting a lot. And be very conscious of if you're going to be using this on a floor surface, particularly tile, that's very smooth. It might create a slippery surface, so be very cautious of that. And then one last thing is if you're doing video, when in operation, the device does make some fan noise. And it's not loud by any means, but it will definitely be picked up by a microphone. So here's a little sample where the camera's about maybe half a meter away. So overall, I think this is a great creative tool for photographers and videographers, and I can kind of live with the compromises in exchange for its portability and ease of use. Now, when it comes to the continuous runtimes for the fog and steam settings, I'm also fairly content here as well because I'd rather have an aggressive overheating protection scheme to extend the life of that atomizing chamber rather than having longer runtimes and having to replace the chamber every week. And for all intents and purposes, it really did produce more than enough fog and steam for the applications that I showed you in this video. Now, with that said, let's talk about the cost of this device and the running cost. Now, the kit as seen here runs $249. The refills for 100 milliliters or 200 minutes of fog fluid is $35, and the replacement atomizing chambers are $55. Now, the manufacturer has provided a 10% discount code for my viewers, so check out the links below for more information and to get that 10% discount. But that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.